Let's grab a couple questions before we go.
Ooh, question time.
We go to the voice of God, and
The voice of God is here.
So good to hear his voice.
How's the voice of God's microphone? Am I doing okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
There's power in that voice.
This first question comes from YouTube. What advice would you give a parts manager who wants to transition to service? Let the jokes commence.
Go for it. It's about time. That's all I can
well,
say.
it's not what I expected.
That's all I
Right?
can say.
Did
It's
you
not even
expect
a
some
joke.
comment about go work for the post office
Yeah.
or
DMV.
DMV's waiting for you? Nothing?
Wow.
That's great. This is a kinder,
That was like a
gentler.
softball thrown
I think
at
that
you,
our,
and you're like,
I think that our dealer versus independence has softened
He's
Jeremy a
rattled
little.
right now.
Yeah, we're in his head. I like it. Next question, voice of God.
This question comes from email. Is there an ideal percentage for a door rate at an import dealership should be striving for? Our door rate is $120.
So if you have a good customer experience, you have well-trained advisors and a pricing strategy that the advisors are executing on, your door rate means nothing whatsoever, and your effective labor rate is what matters. And most of the time, your effective labor rate should be higher than your door rate. Now, without being in our coaching group and in our online training, you're going to think that's crazy, right? Because we hear it all the time when we're doing strategy sessions with new clients. Oh, that's crazy, but it takes you about a week. And once you kind of understand the formula, you get that there's a separation and you will stop talking about posted labor rate. It's irrelevant. Effective labor rate is the only thing that matters.
I agree with you. You just got to understand that for the advisors out there, a lot of times that is something that is ingrained in them that, okay, we have to get this much per hour. And so the door rate, I can understand where that question comes from. You have to monitor your effective labor rate. I've always gone off of if you're not at 95% of your door rate, you have too much slippage. And you've seen it. You've seen shops that post 140 and they're only getting 80. So there's a lot more to this question,
the
but
execution.
it's all about the execution.
We talked today with an elite member because when we go through our elite call, we put up the numbers. We have an elite member that manages a very big import store in the middle of the country. They do $12.95 oil changes for life if you buy the car there.
Yep.
So the
And his
labor
effective
rate
was
is-
112?
No, it was a little higher than that even, I think.
I understand that, but
How much labor do you think is in that $12.95 oil change?
5 cents.
No, it's negative.
negative.
And so that's in that number.
I get that. I understand that. But a lot of
But-
the advisors who might be listening to this or watching this don't understand variable rates and how
But
to
that's a
calculate
negative
them.
effective labor rate. And at the end of the day, when he's all said and done, he's at 112 or whatever.
Right, which means
110.
on his repairs and diagnostic work, he's charging 130, 140 per hour.
What
to
it
get
means is he's got a team of advisors that take those opportunities, right? Because we have clients that do free oil changes for life and they count as zeros in that number too, right? They have a pricing strategy and advisors that execute on what that strategy is. We're not just throwing it up against the wall and seeing what sticks. It's very thought out and methodical. You know the system, but I would just say effective labor rate's more important, but we could get the effective labor rate higher than the door rate.
So the answer to that question is getting our coaching.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good question, God.
This next
You know,
question.
God just had his car serviced.
Did he really?
He broke
did.
down.
God broke down on the freeway.
I offered him to drive the Jeep truck, you know?
He-
He didn't want it.
Did
He's
he
like,
say
that
he's-
won't fit in my garage.
God
That's what he
doesn't
said.
have room in his garage for that monster.
I thought he said he's
What's
gonna
funny
fly
is that
around
God
everywhere.
has a garage. Any jokes for that, Christian? Any garage jokes?
So tempting. But I'm going to leave it for now.
Nice segue. You know what the garage
I'm not even going
reminds
to try
me
it because
of?
I would just blow it up.
My other car is a crucifix.
Oh, now God's getting in on the humor.
I did. Wait. I forgot to tell you guys. Trump sent me a text message the other day that he
President Trump?
President Trump. He said that in reviewing the numbers for the economy and to keep us out of a major recession, that service advisors everywhere need to manage their effective labor rate, and he felt that the average labor rate in service departments across the country is too low, and then we should be charging more.
Wow, right from the President of the
Straight
United
from the
States.
White House. Yep.
Unbelievable. I didn't see that press conference. Was that on Fox?
That was a text
It
he
was a
said he got.
Oh, a
text.
text. Okay.
How do you think I found out that Trump and the
You
CIA
and Jay-Z
watched?
are texting Trump?
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Okay. This next question comes from Alex's Knife Box.
That's the email?
That's their screen name.
Where did this come from?
YouTube.
Alex's Knife Box.
Alex's Knife Box.
What's that mean?
Sounds sharp.
Wow.
Leave the comedy to us, God.
He is on fire today.
If they buy repairs, should the customer get the diagnostic fees applied towards the repair or on top? I generally try to apply to build more of a relationship, but just curious. What do you guys think? Is that losing money or building a relationship?
Age-old question. Go
Billion
take
times.
it, Jay.
If you give it away, you haven't built enough value in your diagnostic process. So it's my answer to that is once the diagnostic service is performed, the fee for service has been earned, and it's a fee that stays on the repair bill. So you've got to build the value in it. You got to have processes and checklists. I think in today's world, the fact that you fixed the car right the first time, you should get fairly compensated for that, and the testing is part of it.
I think a bigger part of that question, and maybe it's the wrong question, is what value as an advisor do you see for your time? Mm-hmm. It's more about how you see yourself and the value of your time, because when I was a service advisor, customers were going to pay. They were going to pay, but I was going to take really, really good care of them. So if you think that, and let's just say 10 cars come in a week that you have to do diagnosis on, and you sell the customers the diagnosis without rolling it in, how many of those are going to get towed out or pulled out because of that?
Hopefully 0.
Yeah, like it just doesn't happen.
No.
And so it's in your head. And you are thinking with your wallet, and you're not putting a value on your time and how much you care about customers and how you're going to take care of them. And customers will pay for better service. So change the way that you look at it and start looking at it like, hey, customers are going to pay for me, but I'm going to take really, really good care of them, and I'm going to be the best advisor they ever had. And there's a premium for that.
You know where this really comes in is at the moment when that customer asks you that question, your emotional response as an advisor, you don't have time to think. You have less than 3 seconds to respond to that. And if there's any doubt in your mind or your delivery or your response to that, the customer's going to understand that you don't believe in your diagnostic charges, and they're going to roll right over you.
And I would go even a step further, and we teach this in our advisor training, is I never quoted a customer diagnosis.
No.
Never. You're setting yourself up to do everything twice. So like, say you come in, Jay, and I'm like, okay, you're leaking coolant or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is. So what am I going to quote you for diagnosis for that?
It depends.
Just name a car. Tell me. Name a car. So
Well, BMWs leak coolant all the time. So
okay,
BMW.
what is it usually on a BMW? It's the radiator, right?
Okay.
Okay, so leaking coolant, you pretty much know it's the radiator. So what is diagnosis? What's a pressure check? Like 0.8, 0.6?
0.5, 0.8.
Okay, so what's your labor rate? $3 million an hour? So what are you going to quote me?
2.1 million for the diagnosis.
Yeah, so I'm going to sign an RO for $150.
Right.
And now guess what you got to do?
Sell it again afterwards.
You're going to call me over and over again. Now, do I need the car fixed or not?
You do.
Need the car fixed.
Okay, so what I did when I was an advisor is I never quoted diagnosis. I got a repair authorization. So I would say, Jeremy, I'm going to give myself $2,500 to work with. Looks like it's probably a radiator, but I don't know. We'll have the tech check it out, but that's the worst case scenario. If it's more, I'll give you a call. If it's less, then it's going to be less. So if it's just a hose, it'll just be a hose. But I need something to work with, and I don't want the tech to pull it in and out. If it needs it, it needs it. Now, what matters at that point? Like, you're the customer, you haven't said anything. What matters right now? What's the next thing going on in this exchange?
Time. When are you
Well,
gonna have an
time, I
answer
already
for?
established I'm saving time. I'm not going to call you 5
No, I know
times and
that.
have the tech come up and back and forth. If it needs a radiator, I want to put in a radiator, right? And as an advisor, as we've established in my list already that is so far in your head, you don't know what to do. When you work at a dealership, you kind of get to know that a Volkswagen Jetta does this, and you know the cars, you know what breaks, you know what the problem is, right? So then what's the next thing in this step?
You have any ideas?
I got plenty of ideas, but I'm trying to leave it on you to see.
So
if it's better.
80% of the time, what's the customer going to do? They're going to sign and say,
Right,
okay, what about that other 20%? What did I just save myself?
Well, the second phone call and the sales objection, you're flushing the objection out up front.
Yeah, so, oh no, I just want you to check it out. I'm going to take it to my mechanic.
That never happens.
Yeah, it does.
No way.
Yeah.
Never.
Oh yeah.
No. So then how much?
Your customers probably are doing that to a dealership right now.
My customers?
Yeah, you guys can't diagnose it, but then they're getting a tech at the Volkswagen store to diagnose it, and then they're having you put the
Yeah,
part in.
the ones that come in and say I need a water pump.
Yeah.
Like they didn't just wake up in the morning and see
Either
that
way,
that's needed.
don't segue into a joke here. Let's be serious. So what do I know now when you tell me that?
I probably don't want you to fix my car.
Okay, and so now I can say, well, where are you going to take it? Who's your technician? Why would you let them touch it? Have you seen how good looking our techs are in the back? Why would you let that ugly, whatever, I don't know, but now I know where I stand with you, right? Mm-hmm. I'm still going to try to get your business, but
That's powerful.
now what if you
Super
what if you
powerful.
say, well, no, I'm getting ready to trade it in?
Oh, that's easy to deal with at that point.
Yeah, well, let's not even diagnose it. Let's go down and look at some cars, and sales will fix it. Don't worry
Right.
about it.
Yeah, right there.
But in their mind, they have $2,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I never quote diagnosis. That's my style.
I love it. I think the other really cool thing that happens during that is, no, not a joke. I can see the look in your eye. But but when you do that and you get the repair authorization for $2,500, and let's say that it's $2,750, and you call the customer, how much are they saying? Oh, it's only this much in their head. It's only an additional $250.
Yeah.
But if you start out with a diagnosis of $150 and then call them and tell them $2,750, it's a very different emotion for the client.
Oh, of course it is.
Like
It's a huge negative.
The whole thing
emotional
is a much
response.
better experience. And the thing is that when you have a $2,500 authorization, the tech comes to you and says it needs this and this and this, and you hand the RO back to the technician and say, go ahead and do it. All of a sudden, the world is
Same
going
thing
way
with like
better.
a runnability, right? Because or a check engine light. Sometimes with the check engine light, you got to put in an O2 sensor to then check the thing. And it's like, are you really going to call 5 times? Like, once again, as an advisor, you can have a value of your time. Like,
Yep.
be a professional.
Absolutely.
Customers don't come in and expect their cars to get fixed for free. That's all in our head. We do that. Oh, it's going to be 150 in diagnosis. It doesn't even mean it. No cars get fixed for that. No customer expects their car to get fixed for that. God, when you took in your car, it was leaking coolant, or what was it? A noise? It died on you? What happened?
It died on me on the freeway.
Did you expect that it was going to be $100?
No.
You knew it was going to be $1,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See.
It didn't go when I pushed the go pedal.
Thank you so much for watching this clip of Service Drive Revolution. Now you can catch the full episode on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcast. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.